And at the end of the day, you got to follow the money, and where that's going, is it going to the surgeon? Is it going to people that are doing physiotherapy, the osteopath or the chiropractor? Can you give a specific example of where maybe you've dealt with a patient that has gone through surgery when they probably shouldn't have? I'm sure this comes up all the time. It's maybe I had a guy on the he's one of our producers, and yeah, he had an issue with his knee, and always in Thailand, when you go to the hospital, it's immediate surgery. And then you go see a physiotherapist or, a chiropractor, someone who's going to look at it a bit deeper. And they kind of give you the idea, well, you can at least try to do this type of, exercises, and you might not need the surgery. Have you dealt with that in your career?
Well, I've probably dealt with it many times. That's the thing sometimes is, it's like many years ago, there's a famous lady called Dr. Ida Rolf. And she simply stated, where the pain is, the problem is not. The negativity in some respects is that, the surgeons, like the orthopedic surgeons or the neurosurgeons, it doesn't matter what type of surgeon in some ways. If you see an orthopedic surgeon for knee pathology, then naturally the surgeon is probably going to recommend some form of arthroscopic surgery to maybe remove part of the meniscus, or repair this or do that. Whereas you might be better to maybe, look at the glutes. Because if you were to look at the patient and when they bend, they get, say, medial knee pain. Most of us say the pain in the knee, yes, it could be an arthritic change to the knee. But by trying to make the glute more stable, if you like, and more stronger, then that then reduces the pressure to that knee. But also you can maybe look at the position of the foot as well. So podiatrists, they specialize in the biomechanics of the foot. So they might put in like an orthosis in the shoe, like an orthotic. And then by controlling the position of the foot, will control the position of the knee. So then that change of position can also reduce the load to the knee. So you might find you don't really need surgical intervention.
Yeah, on the last podcast I was listening to, again, on Bob and Brad, you were saying usually if the big toe doesn't go 45 degrees, you're able to diagnose or kind of get an idea of the problem. Can you jump specifically on like that case so people can understand a bit more?
Well, I've seen lots of people with, let's say, for instance, they present with back pain. 4 out of 5 patients will have back pain. But then in terms of, you got to ask yourself the question, is it the symptom or is it the cause? Most of the time, for me, it's never really the causative factor. Yes, someone says, oh, John, I've got an L5-S1 disc pathology. And I go, well, that's okay, because a lot of people do. Whereas the pelvis and the hip and the lumbar work as a triangle. So you got A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. So let's say you have a problem with the hip, A, naturally connects to the pelvis, B, which is influenced by the lumbar, C. So you have this triangular effect. But before you even get to the pelvis, I would always look at the knee and I'd always look at the ankle and the foot. So it only takes me 30 seconds just to quickly assess motion of the great toe. So if you cannot extend the great toe, you only need really extension of the great toe, not really flexion. Because when you are walking, as you go into that heel lift to toe off, the great toe naturally extends. Okay? And if it is restricted in motion, you could have like a female might have what we call like a bunion hallux valgus, where you have this deviation. Men in a certain age bracket might have gout, okay, which affects, for 75%, affects that first MTP joint. And then you can have something called hallux rigidus. It's like where it's just basically a rigid great toe. And then the change of position now, the foot deviates from that. So that then affects the whole kinetic chain. Also, the ankle, you only need from neutral about 10 degrees of to lift up to walk normally. And if a foot ankle is not allowed to dorsiflex from the ankle or foot, then the biomechanics on the foot changes. There's a joint here called the subtalar joint. And the subtalar joint will more likely flatten, like pronate, which flattens the foot, which then takes the shin bone, the tibia in, which then changes the knee, which then changes the hip. So you could have knee pain because of ankle foot. You could have pelvic pain because of the ankle and foot. But let's say all that's okay, but you still have back pain.
If you enjoyed this content, we're doing 5 clips like this a week. If you want to watch the full podcast, click here.